Have you ever felt like you're no longer in control? Like something invisible inside you keeps pulling you toward people, screens, fantasies, and urges you never consciously asked for. You try to stop. You try to focus. But something within keeps chasing bodies, attention, and moments that vanish just as quickly as they come. They call it lust. But lust isn't just sex. It's not love. It's not real connection. It's a fire one that lives in your mind, your hormones, your soul quietly consuming you while whispering, just one more time. And if you don't face it, if you don't understand it, it begins to steal your energy, your purpose, your identity. This video isn't here to shame your desires. It's here to expose them, to show you what lust really is from ancient scriptures to modern science so you can finally understand why you feel what you feel, and how to rise above it. Let's begin. Lust is one of the most misunderstood emotions in the human experience. It's not just the desire for sex, it's the hunger to consume someone physically or emotionally, without true commitment or care. Lust is the craving to take, not to give, to possess, not to build. It's the difference between loving someone and craving them. A man sees a woman and forgets that she is a soul. A woman posts a photo not to express herself, but to be desired. Lust is that instant dopamine hit, that rush of forbidden pleasure, that fleeting thrill of being wanted, but never truly known. And what's dangerous about lust is how shallow it is. It doesn't grow roots, it spreads like fire. It doesn't connect, it consumes. So why is lust so powerful? Because it preys on your most ancient instincts, the part of your brain that evolved not for love, not for purpose, but for survival and reproduction. In a world flooded with sexualized content, distractions, and endless scrolling, your brain designed for some. And unless you understand how this works, lust will keep winning over your focus, your peace, your growth. But long before Instagram or dating apps, every ancient tradition warned us about lust. In Christianity, lust isn't just a physical act, it's a condition of the heart. Jesus taught, whoever looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. That means lust doesn't begin in the bedroom, it begins with a gaze, a thought, an unchecked imagination. It corrupts the soul long before it touches the body. In Christian theology, lust distances you from God because it reduces a soul into a body, a person into a fantasy. The goal is not to eliminate desire but to purify it, to turn it into sacrificial love instead of selfish consumption. In Buddhism, lust is one of the three poisons that lead to suffering, along with greed and hatred. The Buddha called it tanha, craving, not just for sex, but for beauty, pleasure, control. And the more you chase, the more you suffer, because all things are everything you lust after fades, and when it does, you're left empty. Buddhism doesn't ask you to suppress desire but to detach from it, to become free by no longer being controlled by it. In Hinduism, lust is called kama, one of the natural human urges, but kama without dharma or righteousness. In the Bhagavad Gita, uncontrolled lust leads to delusion, to anger, to a loss of wisdom and memory. Lust, if undisciplined, makes you forget who you are. You don't kill desire, you master it. You channel it into love, into sacred connection, into union that uplifts both body and soul. In Judaism, lust is part of the Yetzer Hara, evil inclination. But here is what is interesting. Judaism doesn't say that lust is evil in itself. It's a force like fire. When controlled, it warms the home. Out of control, it burns it down. Judaism teaches responsibility, that you are not just a body, not just an animal. You are a soul with a choice. And then there's Islam, where lust is described not just as a temptation, but as a fitna, a test from Allah. The Quran says, "Do not come near zina, for it is a shameful deed in an evil way." And the Prophet Muhammad warned, the eyes commit zina, the hands commit zina, and the private parts confirm it or deny it. Islam teaches that lust begins with the eyes, the heart, the thoughts you let in. That's why it emphasizes modesty not only in clothing, but in attention, because every act of unfiltered desire, every fantasy entertained, weakens your spirit. But every moment you resist, you grow stronger. Every time you say, no, not out of fear, but out of clarity, you rise. And in that resistance, there is worship. But let's step away from religion for a moment. What does modern science say? In modern psychology, especially among atheists and neuroscientists, lust isn't about sin, it's about chemistry. Lust is a dopamine loop. When you see something attractive, your brain releases dopamine. When you pursue that attraction through porn, hookups, or fantasies, your reward system lights up. But here's the catch. The more you chase, the less you feel. That's tolerance. That's addiction. This is how porn addiction, emotional burnout, and toxic hookup culture are created. You need more intensity to feel the same rush, and in chasing the next hit, you lose the ability to feel deep connection. The world is now selling lust to you. Every ad, every scroll, every sex appeal is used to sell everything from burgers to mobile apps. Social media has trained your brain to crave not just attention but lustful validation. You become the addict and the product. Psychologists now talk about dopamine fatigue, emotional detachment, and sexual exhaustion. Because when lust runs your mind, you don't connect with people, you consume them. So, what's the truth? Lust isn't evil. It's not some forbidden force you need to fear, but it is powerful. And if you give it your attention, it will take your energy, your clarity, your self-respect. Lust disconnects you from yourself. You begin to chase people not for who they are but for how they make you feel for 5 seconds. That's not love. That's not control. That's slavery. And here's something few people realize. Lust shows up the loudest, right before you grow. It knocks hardest when your energy is rising. That's not random. That's resistance. That's interference. That's a test. Lust isn't just lust, it's a distraction from your healing, your vision, your divine assignment. So instead of asking, how do I stop feeling lust? Ask, what is lust trying to distract me from? You were never weak for feeling lust. You were simply untrained. And now, you're beginning to wake up. You're starting to understand it, to see it for what it is. And in that clarity, you start to break free. This channel isn't here to guilt you. It's here to guide you through the shadows of desire into the light of through the noise of craving into the silence of clarity. So, if you've ever felt trapped in a loop of desire, fantasy, emptiness, and shame, don't scroll to the next hit. Don't numb the feeling again. Let this be the last time lust controls you, and the first time you understand it, because we're just getting started. In the next video, we'll go deeper into how lust hijacks your brain and how to rewire it, not with shame, but with power. Subscribe, turn on the notifications, because you're not broken. You're just waking up.